Alrighty, and we are back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Project Remix Competitive Scrims with your host, Q the Planet. Hello, that's me. This is a series where I basically take matches from the competitive scene of Project Remix, a build your own loadout hero shooter on Roblox, and I analyze them and see how the teams play, what their strategies are, how matches go, if there's like a key defining moment or way they played, stuff like that. Things you'd see in other games, but specifically for this game. Anyways, I'm glad that everybody's really liking these. I enjoy doing them. It's quite fun. So, yeah, I'm glad they're helping you. And on that note, if they are helping you, I now have a Ko-Fi page available. It will be in the description or it's in my link tree, which I actually don't think I have been putting in my description. Whoops. But yeah, if you just want to support me for these reviews I do, or the Tab G reviews I do, or just in general, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. But yeah, enough self promotion. Let's get into this. So this is a match between the team EP Paint Eaters and Mad Remixers. Mad Remixers is a new team, as the title debut up here indicates. And EP Paint Eaters is a pretty established team already, from what I know. They've played before and everything. I think they were actually one of the teams playing in the previous review I did. I'm not certain about that, but yeah. And I like this new UI. I will mention the teams and the score, which is really convenient because I can now very accurately say who is who. But yeah. Anyways, this one is going to be a bit different. I'm following a suggestion from one of the people who saw his videos, and I'm just going to keep game audio on mute, so we won't hear explosions or sounds and stuff like that, and we won't hear the commentators, but hopefully it makes it a bit easier for me to, well, commentate if there aren't overlapping number of voices. So far, we're starting off on Plates of Fate, I believe is this map, and it is Koth, I think. So immediately we have blue, which is Mad. We have a paintball gun, very interesting. Maybe not the best choice for this map, but if you know where to set up, you get a lot of very good sight lines early on. For example, this entire little walkway here, you have views of about 85%, 80 to 85% of the entire map, and if you're a good shot, that's free kills. I think I saw grenade launcher, yes. Grenade launcher and Staff of Life, and that's on blue or Mad. And then EP Paint Eaters has a lightning wand, a paint bucket, of course, something Judgment Blade. Oh, ooh, okay. And so they have a DRL. Okay, hold on. Let me just try and understand this. So, blue has a grenade launcher up top. They managed to get a kill early on, and then we just saw that Judgment Blade. And I think that's a DRL player with Judgment Blade, which makes sense. DRL has high mobility. It makes it really easy to do aerial Judgment Blades. So, okay, that's a Tommy. So blue team seems to be grenade launcher, Tommy gun, paintball gun, Staff of Life, and then whatever their fifth player has, which I think we have yet to see. And then red seems to have paint bucket, paint bucket, DRL, and a couple lightning wand, and then one or two other things. Okay, interesting. So far this game has been going in blue's favor. Actually, hold on. They did manage to pressure out red here. I want to see what happens. Right, so red is mostly live here. It's the grenade launcher. Yeah, no, this is one of the perks of the grenade launcher, is that you have very high area damage, which means that you can land one shot on someone in the middle here, or even, you don't even have to land the shot, it just has to be mostly on point. And if it is, you can kind of just get massive damage on anybody in the area, and that's what happens here, as they manage to pick off the team. Staff of Life gets picked off. Yeah, Paint Bucket gets picked off. So right now, this is in blue's favor. They have control of the point. Red is getting a couple kills on the outside. They don't seem to be very worried here. they seem to be more branched out here, where they're basically controlling the area around the point instead of the point itself. Which is definitely an interesting way to play. With their guns like Tommy gun and grenade launcher and everything, it's a lot easier to do. Grenade launcher is on the point, which makes sense, but stuff like Tommy gun and paintball gun can easily do that. They can just like stay near the point and pressure anybody who's getting onto the point. Yeah. But as you can see here, that strategy does start to fall apart if they do a dedicated push. But okay, Red is not having a very good start here. They are getting absolutely shredded. Oh, that's Noble. Interesting. I did not know he was on the team. He's one of the players on blue team. Oh, and it's Ace on a blue. Okay. There's actually a number of people here that I know. Interesting. Okay, so zones moved. Blue is still on the advantage here. They are just kind of absolutely demolishing Red's line. Just line. I think Red is running Link's sword as their tank weapon, which definitely an interesting choice. Yeah, DRL is picked off. Noble's running shotgun. Okay, let's see. Blue is running lockout. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think this game is going to go in Blue's favor, simply because they have very high damage output weapons, and I don't think Red has the team comp to be able to rush them down, let alone separate them, and you really do need to separate them. Like, if you can get something like this paintball gun here isolated, and then you get the shotgun isolated, and then you get the Staff of Life isolated, and you get these two people isolated, you can take them down, because all these weapons tend to fall apart when you have several people rushing them. But here, the way that they're playing, it's very organized, and it's very fluid, so they're playing near each other, so that means that in the case that anybody's fighting, they can just pop over and fight them, and then come back to their original fight, which makes it really hard for Red to get on points. They do get fantastic Judgment Blade Slam, Paint Bucket getting value there. Grenade Launcher still putting in pressure. Paintball Gun still ain't dead, which is on par for Paintball Gun. Paintball Gun, you either have 5 kills and 20 deaths, or you get 45 kills and never die. There was very little in between. Blue pops Hyper Laser, and yeah, they managed to clear they managed to clear Red off the point. Yeah. Oof. Red is just getting shredded here. Unfortunate, really. I think it is mostly a weapon matchup. They blue pops Stravance. Smart move by the Paint Bucket there. If you didn't see Paint Bucket going around doing their thing and everything, and then you can see right here, they see the Stravant, and they know that if they peek, they're going to take damage. So what they're doing is just kind of hiding here. The thing with Paint Bucket is that if you're using the alternate version of Sprint, which is it's called Ebb and Flow and everything, it makes you go like, it's kind of like Splatoon, where you disappear into the paint. Thing is that unlike Splatoon, A, you can't get rid of the paint, so you can't reveal people, and 2, you're completely invisible. People have to know you're there to shoot you. Otherwise, you could kind of just lay there and not do much, which is pretty much what the Paint Bucket does here. They do manage to get away. They get a bit of healing, which is nice. They get picked off by the Grenade Launcher. Oof. Yeah, this is not a very good game for Red right now. They are getting shredded. I think if they tried to organize themselves to do like clump up together and do what's known as like a death ball, which is basically just 5 people grouped together. Well, no, they can't do that because of the... Interesting. So Blue really has built a lesser of two evils kind of team, where it's like if you group up, you're going to take a ton of damage to the Grenade Launcher, and Grenade Launcher is hard to kill, especially with an organized team, because of its naturally high health. And like 0 penalties it has, or very little penalties it has. If you try to spread out, you have things like the Paintball Gun and the Shotgun to take you out and hunt down each member of the team, which means that you never have enough resources to properly take a point. Damn. That's a deadly team combination. Congratulations to Blue for organizing that, because, wow. In that case, if that is the way that blue is going to play, red should really be playing what's known as dive, which is very fast. It's very fast weapons and very fast team composition that basically has you, well, diving into the enemy's backline to just get kills as quickly as possible and then dip out and everything. The reason this would work is that if you can isolate the members of blue, they lose a lot of power. For example, paintball gun. If you can have two people or one person with some good timing and dodging skills dive on the paintball gun, they can take them out because paintball gun kind of falls to high damage close range pressure. Same thing with grenade launcher. If you have something like katana, a skilled katana player, a skateboard, shotgun, yes, stuff like that, versus grenade launcher. Most of the time, it's not grenade launcher that's winning. Same thing with shotgun. If you have... Okay, shotgun is a bit different because it's high damage up close, but if you have a slightly more ranged melee, like katana, yet again, that can dodge all the shotgun shots and deal massive damage to it and everything, what red could do here is that they could go and they could pick off one person at a time, and that removes blue's advantage of being able to just hold the area, like hold this area, instead of having to just hold this point. They are basically forced to either hold the point or hold nothing. And it also gives red the advantage because if they can, for example, if they pick off the grenade launcher, they can then go do a death ball because grenade launcher is blue's only, or their main anti-group tool. If they pick off the paintball gun, they can play much closer to blue, or farther back actually, because they don't have the paintball gun pressuring them. If they take out the shotgun, they can go for other weapons because they don't have the pressure of the shotgun chasing them, and the support can like play a bit more risky, etc., etc. Which, yeah, a lot of Project Remix is kind of whatchamacallit, it's rock paper scissors. It is a complaint that people have had about the game and everything, but it's just kind of how the game is right now. Red is I will admit, red is doing pretty damn good for the team comp that they have. It's 67 to 80. MAD is currently in the lead here, but they are holding on. They're not they aren't giving up yet. Yeah, as you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. Blues, because they all have high power weapons, they can kind of sit spread out like this, and because each of them has so much power with their individual weapons, I think that's a Staff of Life, so ignore this guy, but because each of their weapons has so much power and everything, they can play more spread out like this, and it doesn't cost them anything because they don't need to be next to each other to do well. Okay, we got Paint Bucket moving in, trying to get some kill, or damage actually. Ooh, okay, hold on. Okay, we got blue popping Artemis. Paint Bucket is dead. Staff of Life is dead. Dual rocket launchers is about to be dead, I suspect. Yep. Wow, okay. Ooh, bit of a rough match for red. Oh, and yeah, and blue pops the hyper laser. Oh, okay. Oh, God. They were saving it. Okay. So red's down about 20 points here. Good thing is... Oh, actually, hold on. The points aren't going up. Interesting. I don't know if that's because there's red members on the field or something, but... Oh, hold on. I missed this. What just happened? Okay, so red's diving in here. We have Paint Bucket going for the back line, everything. Oh, okay, interesting. So they went with Judgment Blade into that, and then Lightning Wand was picking off the members in the back. Interesting decision. It worked out for them, though. Mostly. Stravant with Lightning, very deadly remix. And, oh, he got the health back. Okay, hold on. Red's tank might be able to get some serious mileage here. Ooh, hold on. Okay, hold on. They can flip things here. Blue's support is dead. And the, okay, no, the paintball gun is not at all worried. Red pops their own Stravants. Okay. Interesting. Divine Veil. Oh, that's smart. I think they've been saving that the whole match because they knew... Okay, huge congratulations, Red, because I think that is one of the best plays I have seen in a very long time. So, I don't know if this was intentional or not. If it was intentional, very well done. If it wasn't, happy coincidence. So, Red here is actually doing pretty well. You have the tank who moves on here, grabs a health pack, which is actually critical here because it gives them enough health, or gives them enough health, to be able to stall the point and give time for the rest of Red to arrive, because otherwise Blue can just stand on the point and get it for free. A mix of damage from, I think that was a lightning cloud. I'm not sure what they got hit by here. Yeah, they got zapped by a lightning cloud. Damn. So they got zapped by a lightning cloud, and then the tank goes in and takes out the support, which is actually pretty damn crucial here, because it means that Blue's without any sort of healing, which means that if they can, for example, get pressure on that grenade launcher, okay, they can go and get the kill on them. Same thing with the paintball gun and everything. They popped the Stravance, which was a smart idea. It forces them off the point and everything. They popped the Divine Veil. And the thing with the Divine Veil is that it gives them so much health that's impossible for any... Blue would have to basically pull out 2 airstrikes to be able to cut through all of that health in the second and a half, not even, second and a half of overtime that they have left. It would basically have to be like 3 golden knives to cut through this. And what it does is that it basically forces the grenade launcher off the point, which gives them enough time to rack up points and run down the overtime timer, which means that they won. Which means that EP Paint Eaters gets a point. Fantastically well done. Yeah. Damn. Pretty impressive gameplay so far. Both teams are very skilled from what I've seen. Obviously, MAD had the advantage there. I think it's partly because of their team composition. Ace is pretty damn good player. Noble is pretty good also from what I've heard and everything. So there's that. Also, the way that they were playing really put Red at disadvantage because they were able to just pick off Red's members individually, and the Red was basically forced to make too many sacrifices. They had to so basically they were forced to play a part because of the grenade launcher, and because they were forced to play a part, that means that they weren't close enough to be able to avoid shotguns, which means that they had to sacrifice attention to the shotguns, which means that they couldn't take down the paintball gun if they can't take down, and if they try to dedicate attention to the paintball gun, then they get blown up by the grenade launcher, and so it's just kind of like repeating cycle and everything. However, and at the end there, that was a fantastic play on the air, and because Red did have the advantage that when they were grouped up and they were playing together, or not necessarily right next to each other, but they were just playing in the same general vicinity of each other. They have a very strong team composition, which is what we saw there. They were able to fend off Blue on several of those points, and especially on that last point, they were able to fight off and take and push Blue off the point enough for them to run down the overtime timer. Anyways, where is the next game? Is this it? It is. Okay. Hold on. Calm down. Okay, so we have, ooh, fancy. Okay. Okay, so we have a TDM game, which it looks like on the, this is the Raceway map. It's a pretty interesting map. There's a lot of there's a mix of open sightlines here and a lot of cover, especially in this area here. It's like, this area is decent amount of cover. The area that's behind here, decent amount of cover and everything. Parking lot too. It's a mix of, you'll go from very long sightlines to very close quarter spaces, which not every team is suited to. But, interesting. So Red has done a bit of team swapping. They have subbed out one of the previous players, and they now have Shrub. Shrub being, so far, as far as I know, the only Maniac to use Chrono Release, which is a pistol variant, in competitive scrims. So hello, Shrub. Let's see how that goes. Let's see. Okay, so they've swapped around their team a bit. We have Barrier Shield something. We have a Bloxicola. We have Chrono Release Pistol. I think, yeah, they still have, so it's still linked shield. Top Hat. Interesting. And then Fists, I think. Yep. Interesting. Okay, so yeah. Actually, I do think that they adapted and they're going for much more of a dive thing, which is actually, yes, this is what I'm seeing here. We have Fists, which from what I'm seeing, I don't think they're running. I think they might be running Battering Ram. If they are running Battering Ram, then yeah, it ties into that whole dive idea and everything. But especially with the Top Hat pick here and the Bloxicola, it really sells the idea of, well, both of these are designed. Both of these weapons are you're able to heal your teammates without needing to be next to them, and you can give value to them without. You can give value to them, and that value lasts. For example, say the Top Hat shield lasts until it takes damage. Bloxicola gives overhealth. Overhealth doesn't, and it doesn't decay. So you're basically giving your team a bit of healing and some more health to start fights. And the mix of Chrono Release and the Fists really sells the idea that they want to pick off members of Blue one by one and really sell that. Let's see if Blue has any other changes they've made. We still have Grenade Launcher. We still have Staff of Life. We still have Tommy Gun. And okay, so it looks like Blue hasn't changed their team up at all. Interesting. So we have Fists. You're trying to go in. No luck so far. Blue's trying to pressure out here. Grenade Launcher seems to be getting some value, but I will admit, actually, Grenade Launcher has lost a bit of use, a little bit of value here because they went Top Hat. By going Top Hat, the mass amount of overhealth gain from the wand that you throw out pretty much means that the value you get from each Grenade Launcher shot is pretty diminished. And then Bloxicola's healing over time and everything, it just cuts, just pretty much cuts that down. Okay, and we have the Fists going in for a kill here, or at least trying to. No luck. Oh, hold on. Blue, Ren might be able to get a kill here. They have, yeah, damn. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so from what I'm seeing so far from Red's gameplay is that they're going for a kind of like it's a bait and switch team play, which is really smart. It's very clever considering that they knew it would work really well against Blue's team. So to clarify, what a bait and switch is, in this case, what the bait and switch is that their team they're playing very close together and everything. They're playing very like clumped up. As you can see here, they've stayed in this relative area for pretty much a minute 15 now in this area and everything. However, and it looks like they're just kind of like bunkering down and everything. However, the weapons that they have, more specifically the Fists here, is or hold on. Basically, they look like they're bunkering down, so they bait Blue's team into trying to pressure them and everything, and then once they react with counter pressure, which is mainly Chrono Release, because it does incredibly high damage, and you don't even have to be accurate. Like, obviously, if it helps if you're accurate, but you can kind of just set up shots like this, and anybody walks into this general area, they're going to take minimum 80 damage and everything. So, basically, they bait a Blue member into pushing, or several Blue members into pushing. They send out the Chrono Release bullets, massive damage, and then Fists, what Fist does is that they rush down that person, and the mixture of the high damage, high sustainability, and incredibly high speed of Fists means that whoever gets caught out just gets run down. And if the Fist doesn't catch them, then the pistol will, because the pistol has an execute on its reload. So, and then you have Top Hat and Bloxicola helping them and supporting their team members as they go for those dives on the Blue members who fall for the trap. Which, honestly, given the way that Blue was playing before, this is a fantastic strategy. And as you can see here, considering they're up 4-0, it is working. Now, someone on Blue did actually throw down a Satellite Intel, which gets blown up almost instantly. Rest in peace, Satellite Intel. The Blue popped Hyper Laser, gets them 2 kills. 3 kills, actually. Or they are at 3. They almost managed to get a kill, but yeah, as you can see here, that's actually what I was talking about. If you keep an eye on the Staff of Life here, it's this player right here. It's Noble, I think. No. Okay, it's this guy. So keep an eye on him. So you can see here, he's moving with these guys. They're moving in. They're trying to pressure red and everything. Chrono Release goes out. They're suddenly at half health. If that pistol throw had been slightly to the left, they would be, well, not dead, but they would be really injured right now. And so if the fists were there right now, it would give them a perfect chance to move in. Now, I think blue is catching on a bit to their strategy. As you can see here, yeah, they're flanking them and everything, and they're going for kills, which is not very good. Red really doesn't need these. Oh, okay, they popped a Crimson. Okay, that's a different story. Oy. Fist manages to score another kill, but oy. 11-5 is not looking good. Oh, this is very rough. Okay. Oy. I mean, red's definitely trying here, but I think, yeah, once they've been forced out into the open, blues, yet again, blues overwhelming firepower, and just pressure per weapon is so high that, yeah, they're just cutting down red members, and there's not much they can do about it. They really need to take, they really need to just find an area, take control of it, and go from there. Because otherwise, they're never gonna win. Alright. Bloxicola trying to get a kill, no dice. Oy. Yeah, the Tommy gun and the Tommy gun and paintball gun are getting just so much value here because of all these long open sight lines. It's insane, honestly. Oh, okay, no, hold on. They managed to take down the shotgun. Interesting. Okay, let's see how this goes from now. Bladed 2-2 coming out. Gets some value. But blue takes the advantage. Blue respawns with a hyper laser that just cuts them down. Boy. This is not looking good for red. Not at all. Okay, the fist is running battering ram. That's what I thought. Makes sense, but things are pairing the shotgun shot is devious. Okay, apparently I think because of the final duel rules, basically I think what it is that when final duel triggers, the team that triggers it wins. So that means that MAD MAD gets the win here. I'm sorry, I'm a bit ill, so my voice is a bit scratchy today, but overall, pretty good performance from both teams. EP Paint Eaters had the right idea to swap to a more of a bait and switch type team and everything, but the minute that they lost control of that lower area, they kind of fell apart here. They should have really tried to just either go and try to keep controlling its area or go and control this little under area, mainly for the reason that the open sight lines just absolutely decimates them because of the paintball gun. It's too much pressure and they don't have any easy way to respond. Okay. Okay, so we have Koth again, and this time it is glass houses. Depending on how EPE plays, they might have a serious chance of winning here. So we have Olive Blue, or MAD, landing here. Spawning on the middle section, and red is taking advantage of that paint bucket to get in early. Now I will admit this will be an interesting match, mainly due to the fact that the grenade launcher gets massive value here because it detonates on these glass panels, but also because tight corners or like close quarters locations with a lot of entryways through which you can shoot people. However, red does also have the advantage here if they do something similar to their previous tactics of bait and switch. Especially with that fist, they can easily run somebody off a cliff, run them into a wall, run them into the face of another teammate, etc., etc. And just chip down. Oh, they went Banhammer. What? Okay. So they've gone Banhammer instead of... Yeah, okay, so they changed up again. They went Paint Bucket Paint Bucket, Staff of Life, Banhammer, with Link Sword again. Oi. More accurately, they went Stormveil. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, Red EP really needs to EPE really needs to group up here. Oh, okay, hold on. They managed to get a kill on the support. But they trade. Oof. Okay, it seems to be 1-1 right now. Red is getting some pretty good kills, but Blue is responding. Yeah, that Tommy gun is just dealing a lot of damage. So you have the sniper on point all alone. Okay, now you have the anti-heal. Hold on. I think the Paint Bucket is running anti-heal, which is actually really clever to deal with Staff of Life. Okay, Lightning Wand again. They pop Hyper Laser, which clears off pretty much all of Red from the point. Which makes sense. Red trying to push back in here. This is really... I see they were baiting out the Stravant. They're waiting for the Stravants and everything to get them onto the field. Smart. We have Lightning Wand cleaning up. Oh, hold on. They're going for a kill up there. Okay. This should be interesting. This is a similar scenario to before. We have Red down here going for a similar bait and switch strategy, but their weapons aren't as like designed for it as they were beforehand. So let's see how well that works. Okay, obviously if you pop a remix, it's going to be a slightly different conversation here, but yeah. So far Blue still has the advantage here. That Lightning Wand is getting some valuable mileage here, but I just don't know how much. Shotgun picking off one of the players. That lockout box is extremely deadly. I really think that after the first game, once they, or this is for EPE, I think that once once they realized that MAD was going to be running lockout box, they should have gone for Stormveil. Stormveil plus Barrier Shield instead of just Link Sword. For the main reason that Stormveil has much higher like defensive uptime, and you can like clear out and prevent a lot more damage than you can with Barrier Shield, which means that I think you can use Stormveil if you're in a lockout box because it's a weapon, it's a secondary ability of your weapon, it's not actual ability per se. And if so, then that means yeah, you can use the Stormveil as a miniature Barrier Shield while the lockout box is on the field, and then once you move out of his area or it decays, you can swap over and use Barrier Shield again. Okay, so Red trying to get on point here. Paint Bucket is interesting, so they're trying to isolate the whatchamacallit. Yeah, okay, so they are trying to isolate the teams here. As you can see here, they've got everybody split up. You have the paintball here, you have Tommy gun here and everything, but I don't know what it is about EPE. It's just the weapons, they just aren't strong enough, I think, or it's just the wrong weapons, because like I've seen this paintball gun at like 2/10, like 1/5 of his health like 5 times over, and he just doesn't die. Yeah, look, like right here, they have perfect potential to just cut down a huge chunk of their team, and no dice. Red is making a comeback though. That is something that I have noticed, is that their team, even though they are losing, generally they are losing to Blue and everything, once they can get a couple good picks and they push off Blue, like I said before, Blue doesn't have the grouped up pressure that Red does, which means that Blue's gonna rely on, well, outside pressure. They're gonna sit back and everything. Problem is, this is KOF, which means you really need to be on that point to be on the objective to score the points, because that's what wins you the games. So that's the main way that Blue or Red is stacking up points despite being at a power disadvantage. Okay, they managed to get a good kill with the dual rocket launchers here. Okay. That's a hype laser. Okay. Okay. Red is down 20 points here, but I think they can make a comeback. Maybe. Okay, we got paintball gun is down. Grenade launcher is down. Okay, hold on. These are some very valuable kills that they're getting right now. Oh wow, hold on. They've just wiped the entirety of blue. Okay, fantastically well done, Red. Also, I know they have actual names. It's easier to call them Red and Blue than their team names most of the time. Actually, hold on. This is exactly what I was talking about beforehand. As you can see here, Blue has respawning and everything. They're spawning back in and everything. But yet again, Blue doesn't have the sheer pressure and everything, which means that instead of trying to rush the point and everything, they're just going to sit back here and they're going to pressure and everything. Except that's not very good because the zone moves in 10 seconds, which means that these entire 10 seconds that they spend pressuring Red and everything, trying to get damaged and all of that, is another 10 points, as you can see here. It's literally 10 points that Red managed to get. Now, they will pick off some of Red's members here, which will, or at least they'll get massive damage and everything. But because of that extra time and everything, this means that Blue is now forced to rush. And I don't think Blue's team is really adequate for rushing. Yeah, as you can see here, the paintball gun tries to get on the point, gets picked off. These members are trying to get in. They get mostly picked off. They popped a Crimson Katana, so not quite. But yeah, as you can see here, Blue's now playing on the overtime time, which means all Red has to do is pop a single damage remix that isn't Golden Knife. And they get the win here. Because suddenly, well, ideally they pop it in the next 5 seconds. Yep, and there it is. Subspace. And boom. Okay, hold on, actually. Hold on. No. This is not good. I think if that subspace trip mines had been a bit more like, okay, so it's right after this. It's right here. If that trip mines had been a bit more up here, like, or hold on, they popped it right here. If they popped it like up here and everything, I think that would have been enough to force them off the point long enough. Because as you can see here, also nobody. Okay, so they do get Tommy gun and everything, but they retaliate and yeah, because that's a bit unfortunate timing and everything, but anyway. Yeah. So it's 2-1. MAD is currently winning, and boy, this is a rough match, or a rough set of games. Okay, hold on. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be objective mode. Whoa, okay, wow. Hold on, things are escalating fast. Okay. So it looks like Red is, they're going fists again. Okay, so Blue has to push the payload here. So MAD is pushing payload, EP is stopping payload. And yeah. They've got a minigun. Interesting. Shrub is back on Chrono Pistol, which actually makes sense. Works well on shipping docks because of all the angles that the bullets can ricochet off of. Oh. And he's running anti-heal. Makes sense. Blue's running DRL. And, okay. Alrighty. Red's actually doing a pretty good job here. Yeah, as you can see here, this is what they should be doing. This is exactly what EP Paint Eaters needs to do here is, hold on. This is really good because you're basically locking out these two members from any of their allies behind them or any of their supports, and because of the fact that Barrier Shield is a physical object, you're physically forcing them into a corner, which means they can get the 2 kills on them, and the dual rocket launcher stuck without any help. Tommy Gun will get away. No, actually, nope. They get chased down by a slingshot. Nice. Okay. Who is this? Shrub is going... Okay. Shrub, you are a maniac, but congratulations. So, while everybody else was doing their thing and they were cleaning up the kills and everything, Shrub has decided to go and chase down their support and has ambushed the Staff of Life while using Chrono Release Pistol. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Let's see how they play this, because Red has the advantage here. Shrub is, wow, yeah, no, Shrub is quite literally just going for the backline kill here. Rest of Red, what are they up to? So it's a kind of a standoff here. Red has the advantage here because of the corner. Blue has to pretty much cross this line into this section here and to be able to move up and deal damage and everything, whereas Red can kind of just sit here and peek this corner much more in a much more basically. Hold on. Blue has to take this entire angle to be able to push this corner, whereas Red only has to take this angle. And generally in these kind of fights, the smaller angle wins because you can just easily back up and get to cover, whereas with Blue they have to back up, and this right here, this section, this line here is where the next closest piece of cover is. So Blue is technically at a disadvantage here. Let's see what happens. Minnow Magic comes out, starts getting a bit of damage. Banehammer goes in, tries to get a kill, but they don't get much value, and yeah, the rest of Blue is kind of falling apart here. Why? Shrub dies to the Tommy Gun. Let's see. Yeah. Support dies to the Slam. Boy, Red is in trouble here. Yeah, they get cut down. Yeah, the Tommy Gun flanked them, and that's where things kind of fell apart here. Oof. Okay. Red is still winning here. Blue has pushed at 18%, and they only have a minute 14 on the clock, which gives them about 2 more big team fights. Also, remixes will be online and very shortly. So, yeah, Blue is kind of just dominating here. Oof. Okay, they've gotten more time because they hit the checkpoint and everything. Yeah, they really need to take down this Tommy Gun. Is just sitting and getting free damage, and nobody's actually dealing with it, because I don't think they can deal with it. Yeah. Actually, funny enough, I think Blue has started using Red's strategy of isolating their targets against them. And especially because of the minigun, it is dangerously effective. Also, Red really just needs to group up here and try and push as a group, because right now they're just basically giving away free remix charge by running in and dying repeatedly. Okay, come on. This guy's like 5 health. No, yeah, Hyper Laser comes out. Okay, 3 mix on the clock, 50%. Red is suddenly very much in trouble here. Oy. Staff of Life gets cut down again. Oh, yeah, I really think Red really just needed some kind of weapon that can secure kills. Either having the slingshot specifically, like with a loadout to chase down low health targets, or some other weapon like I don't know, katana or something. Because there has been like several incidents where you have like you have this guy on the Tommy Gun on Blue who's almost dead. You have the other person on Blue who's almost dead, and they just get away and they never die. And because of that, they can just keep applying pressure, and Red falls over because of it. Hold on, what happens here? Okay, so Blue has split pressure here. Noble almost dies already. FYI, you don't want to pop Bior out in the open. Just a friendly piece of advice. Divine Veil. Okay, so they're going for like a big push. Interesting. Subspace. Okay, good. This is forcing whatchamacallit. You're forcing Blue off point here. Artemis Circle cuts down, just pretty much deletes all of the mines, or subspace mines. And wow, okay, yeah, no. Red just falls over here. Oh god. Yeah, yet again, this is the same thing. Um, if Red had someone who was dedicated on finishing off low health targets, or if they had something like that, um, this person would be dead, and the Artemis circles wouldn't have gone off, or at least they wouldn't have gone all four, which means that they would probably be dead, which means that the rest of the other people would not be dead, but they would be severely injured, which means that Blue wouldn't get the advantage here. I think Blue is technically up remixes because they only popped one. They popped Artemis Circle to counter Divine Veil and whatchamacallit. Yeah, as you can see, they popped Crimson Katana here, and it just cuts through the rest of whatchamacallit. It just shreds through the rest of Red. Tommy Gun chasing down the Chrono Pistol because it's the Tommy Gun. Minigun is actually cut out here. Nice. Okay. Making a bit of a comeback here. A bit. But, yeah, no. They do manage to take out the Tommy Gun with a good well-thrown pistol, but, Red has like 5... Oh god, that is a lethal airstrike. That just... Yeah, wow, that just bought them at least another 15 seconds. Okay. I think Red has the advantage here because they're going to force Blue to just slowly filter in, and if they play their cards right, they can just pick off people or get picked off. Wow, okay. Yeah, this is, oof. This is not going very well. Oh, right. I forgot that payload maps are two-sided, which means that you get to play both sides before a winner is decided. Which means that we now get to see EP Paint Eaters on pushing the payload, which should be interesting. I would say they're... I would say that their loadouts and their way that their team is organized is maybe not the best for this. However, they do have a lot of close range pressure from the Storm Veil and the Link Sword and the Slingshot and the pistol. So let's see how they go. If they go Top Hat here, I think they do actually have a solid chance at winning instead of Staff of Life, mainly just because Staff of Life keeps getting... Okay, no, they went Staff of Life. Another thing... Okay, so... Or just quick thing in general, if the enemy team is running a lot of hit scan or just guns in general, and they're guns like pistol, Tommy gun, minigun, everything, you generally don't want to use Staff of Life because Staff of Life is good because you can be nimble and everything, which is really good against things like Super Ball, maybe not Slingshot, but Super Ball, melee weapons, 8-bit, stuff like that and everything. However, against guns, it's not really good because guns are guns and they're hit scan, which means they just click on you and you kind of die. You usually want to use, especially in a map like this, Top Hat, fantastic because of all of that close range pressure that you can apply from not only the anti-heal that it now causes, but also the shields that it can give your allies, and if you're running Slay Gambit, the explosive shields. But oh no, they have gone Top Hat. Okay, hold on. No, they did go Top Hat. Red is the one who went Staff of Life. Okay, hold on. They have a serious chance at winning here. Actually, I think they might have actually gone Slay Gambit. Hold on. Okay, this is super interesting because depending on how they play this, Blue has EP Paint Eaters has a serious chance at winning here. I don't know if they do because it doesn't look like there's enough. Wow. This is going to be a long game. Okay. So far, EP Paint Eaters doing much better. They've gone a lot farther in a lot less time, but they are getting cut down here. And looks like this is going to be the first major loss for them. That Top Hat is not dying though, and oh no, I think they're going to start trickling in. Myth is trying to go for something here. Aren't quite dead. They are doing massive work as the team's tank here. Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay, no. EP Pain Eater is doing very good here. They keep isolating targets and everything. And I know I've said that phrase like 5 million times, but it's the general theme of the episode and the way that they play and everything. But it is good here. They're splitting up MAD and they're getting kills here. Unfortunately, MAD's pressure and is just a bit too much. Oh, hold on. Okay, that's one, that's two. The Fist player is going insane. Hold on. They are, I think the phrase is popping off. I don't know. Okay. Dual rocket launcher takes out the Staff of Life. MAD pops Hyper Laser. But they only get two. So far, yeah, EP Paint Eaters is having much better performance this time around than whatchamacallit. Oh yeah, that's pretty good battering ram, but unfortunately they just get caught out. Okay, like yet again, this person is so close to dead. If they would die to one Slipknot shot to the body and everything. They just fall over and die and everything. But I don't think that's happening. Same thing, a Noble here with the dual rocket launchers. One Slipknot shot, they are flat out dead, and that's like a full 6 seconds of one less enemy that you have to deal with. No, but yeah, like I think timer wise, EP Paint Eaters is doing a lot better. Red Pop's Crimson Katana, Battering Ram sacrificing themselves to reduce the timer of the Crimson, which noble sacrifice. Actually, I think it bought them enough time for Blue to pop their own Crimson, and then yeah, they managed to get a couple kills from that. Or not many though. Fists yet again putting in work. MAD pops Divine Veil. Like, this guy is one bullet from death, and you suddenly no longer have they no longer have a Tommy gun on the field. But like nobody's okay. So they get hit with a top hat bullet, but like seriously, if one person on EPE was focused on specifically killing low health targets, they would have so much value here because it would work really well. If your entire strategy is focusing around splitting up teammates and getting them away from their team, or just like diving on them and everything, you need to have someone whose main goal is just, if there's someone who's low health, I'm gonna shoot them and I'm gonna focus on making sure that they actually fully die. Because otherwise you have what happened earlier, which is you have what has happened so much in this game, which is you have low health targets that just escape. Honestly, I want to just congratulations to the person who is playing Fists. They are doing a fantastic job so far in this game. Like, it is literally an absolute stellar performance so far. They've gotten like, I'd say like more than a third of the most important picks so far on their time when playing Fists. But yeah, wow. Yet again, this guy, they could have killed Noble here if they were just a bit faster. Okay. Red is taking the point back a bit. They've got a full team set up here, so Airstrike coming out, but it's countered by Hyper Laser. Okay, interesting. Yes, they just kind of collapse onto the field, and now they're trying to get kills and everything. And so far, it's an even trade. Banhammer almost dying, not quite. Stormveil goes for the minigun, doesn't quite get it, and oh yeah, no. Yeah, damn it. EP Paint Eaters ran out of time. I know it doesn't say it, but how it works is that you have X amount of time to make it to the objective, or in this case, as the texting is saying, they have to get 100% before 5 minutes 16 has elapsed in the match, and they didn't get that, which means that MAD takes the win here. Overall, well played from both of the teams. Fantastic showing overall, especially from I think it was Myth with the fists. I'm not sure. If it wasn't, congratulations, whoever it was. If it was Myth, very well done. Overall, well played from both teams. Paint Eaters, all Paint Eaters is really needed with someone dedicated to killing low health targets. If they had that, these games would have been an absolute, not a steamroll, but it would have been much more in their favor than they were this time. But this was very close matches, and I do want to congratulate Paint Eaters for being able to adapt their strategy and tune it as they learned what MAD was doing, which is a hard skill to have. So anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this competitive analysis, and I will see you all later.